The house was too quiet. It wasn't the kind of quiet that brought peace, it was the kind that gnawed at the edges of your sanity. The kind that made your skin prickle with an unnamed fear. For 17-year-old Ethan Carter, his childhood home had always been strange, but he had never dared to question it. Not until now. It started with the whispers. At first they were barely perceptible, a breath against the walls at night. Ethan had convinced himself it was the wind, the old pipes, his own paranoia. But the voices grew louder, more insistent. And strangest of all, they spoke his name. Ethan, help us. He would wake in the middle of the night, drenched in sweat, convinced someone was standing at the foot of his bed. Yet when he turned on the light, nothing was there. His parents, Thomas and Lillian Carter, dismissed his fears with tight smiles and careful words. Just nightmares, sweetheart, his mother cooed, brushing his hair back. You've always had an overactive imagination. His father was less indulgent. Enough with the ghost stories, Ethan. We don't need this nonsense. But Ethan knew what he heard. And it was getting worse. Ethan's house was old, passed down through generations. A Victorian relic with peeling wallpaper and creaky wooden floors. But the strangest thing about the house wasn't its age, it was the attic door. It was locked. Always. His parents never spoke about it, never mentioned what was inside. It had been that way for as long as he could remember. But Ethan had seen it move. One night, while getting a glass of water, he saw the doorknob turn. It was slow, deliberate, as if someone was trying to escape but couldn't muster the strength. He had stood frozen, barely able to breathe. The moment his mother appeared behind him, the movement stopped. "What are you doing up so late?" she asked, her voice calm. Too calm. I heard something," he whispered, pointing at the door. Her smile never faltered, but something dark flickered behind her eyes. "You must have been dreaming, sweetheart." But he hadn't. And he was sure his mother knew that too. Curiosity was a dangerous thing, but Ethan couldn't stop himself. One evening, when his parents left for their weekly dinner date, he seized his chance. Armed with a flashlight, he searched the house for a key, rifling through drawers and cabinets with frantic desperation. And then he found it. It was hidden inside his father's study, tucked inside an old wooden box beneath stacks of yellowed papers. The key was cold in his palm, heavier than it should have been. His heart pounded as he ascended the narrow staircase leading to the attic door. The moment the key slid into the lock, the air changed. It thickened, humming with something unseen. The whispers returned, louder, frantic. "Don't open it." His breath hitched. His fingers trembled on the doorknob. Every instinct screamed at him to turn back. But he didn't. The door creaked open. The attic was suffocatingly dark, filled with dust-laden furniture and relics from the past. But it was the far end of the room that drew Ethan's attention. A large, wooden chest wrapped in chains. The air was wrong here, colder, damp with something he couldn't name. His stomach twisted as he stepped forward, compelled by an unseen force. The moment he touched the chest, the whispers became screams. "Ethan, run." A sudden violent knock echoed through the attic, rattling the walls. Ethan stumbled back, his breath ragged. The knocking turned into pounding, the sound reverberating in his skull. And then silence. The attic door slammed shut behind him. Footsteps. Slow, deliberate, moving up the stairs. Ethan's heartbeat thundered in his ears. He pressed himself against the far wall, gripping the flashlight like a weapon. The doorknob twisted. His mother's voice floated through the door, eerily calm. "Ethan, open the door." His hands trembled. "What's in the chest?" Pause. Then quieter, more insistent. "Open the door, sweetheart." "No." The silence stretched, heavy and oppressive. Then his father's voice, low, sharp. "You shouldn't have gone up there." Ethan's breath caught. "Why is it locked? Why do I hear voices?" The doorknob stopped turning. For a moment he thought they had left. Then his mother spoke again, her voice colder than he had ever heard it. "It's not safe to know, Ethan." The air shifted. The room grew darker. And then, a whisper from inside the chest. "They're lying." Ethan's blood ran cold. Ethan felt his pulse hammer against his ribs. He had two choices: open the chest fully and confront the truth, or run. But something inside him already knew. He had gone too far to turn back now. With a deep breath, he grabbed the edges of the wooden lid and lifted it completely. Inside, curled in a fetal position, was a boy. No, not just any boy. It was him. A perfect replica of himself, eyes closed, mouth slightly open as if caught in a deep slumber. His skin was pale, too pale, and for a horrifying moment Ethan thought it wasn't breathing. Then its eyes snapped open. The attic shook with a violent tremor, the whispers crescendoing into screams. The figure in the chest sat up slowly, its eyes locking onto Ethan's. His parents burst into the attic, their faces twisted in terror. "Ethan, step away," his mother shrieked. The thing in the chest smirked. "You shouldn't have locked me away," it said in Ethan's voice. "I'm the real one." Ethan staggered back, his mind spinning. The shadows around him thickened, and in the flickering light, he saw the truth. His parents hadn't been protecting him. They had been hiding him. A scream tore from his throat as darkness consumed everything. The house stood silent once more. And the whispers? They had found a new name to call. "Help us, please, help us."